Well, greetings everyone. Hello. Today we are going to hear from Alisha Fox with Color Canvas Systems and gain some real insights about her and her business. So hello, Alisha. Welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for taking the time. And maybe let's just begin by sharing a bit with us about who you are and a bit about your organization, if you would.
Well, I'm Alisha Fox. A lot of my friends and family call me Lish. I've been a hairstylist in the industry for 24 years. 5 years ago, I decided to sell my thriving full concept Aveda salon to patent a one-of-a-kind hair tool that really ultimately solved a problem for me behind the chair as a stylist. And so now I'm the creator of Color Canvas Systems.
Lovely, lovely. So you had a passion for something, you discovered a need and you decided to pursue that and create something that adds value for others, it sounds like.
Yes.
Love that, love that. So I'm just curious, how did you come up with the name of your company?
Well, I really wanted something that piqued one's curiosity. We really essentially we use all of these tools that are supposed to emulate, an easel or a painter's palette. And so I thought, well, hair is ultimately our canvas as stylists. Why not kind of put together a play of words that really tell a story and ultimately pique one's curiosity? So Color Canvas System is really a system that allows a stylist to have full reign with creativity and complete control within their color. So I hope that answered the question.
It does. It sounds like it takes the whole experience that's probably familiar and common to many people when they need to have their hair styled or cut. It takes it to a new level. Adds some
Yes,
real value. Love it.
absolutely.
And your creative spirit comes out. I can see that.
Thank you.
Love that. Well, I'm just curious, if you were to start your business again, right?
Yes.
What did you learn? What might you do differently?
Well, I've heard a lot of entrepreneurs say this, but I've never really fully grasped the significance of it until recently. So if I had it to do all over again, I would have more fun with the process. I'd be more present because my goodness, you blink and 5 years go by and you're 5 years older. And I mean, yes, you've accomplished some profound things, but I mean, life is short. So part of the ride is enjoying it. So most definitely I would have more fun with the entire experience.
Great insight. That's great insight. So creating the experience, it's not just for your customer experience, it's also the experience for those who actually do the work. So I'm curious about, you have a team of people that you work with, and tell us a bit about the team, maybe the environment that you're intentional to create, and any insight that you have about the work experience.
Well, the work experience is, oh my goodness, mind-blowing. There's so many new things that I learn on the daily, but my team is really compiled of my customers, my stylists, those who are using my product, because ultimately that's where I get my feedback, my marketing team, my fulfillment team. Really without everybody's insight, there's no balance. So I give so much credit to everybody that I work with, because there are so many things that you have to juggle on the daily that you would never think about juggling. So most definitely a lot of my success comes from those around me. And what is that quote actually? I mean, what is that quote? It has something to do with surrounding yourself with people who possess skills that are more superior to yours, because that's where you kind of build and grow, is really
Absolutely. And to
Yeah.
embrace that and not be threatened by that, because oftentimes people feel like, they become inadequate if someone else has some skill sets that they don't. And what I hear you say is you actually tap into that as a strength to build team.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful. I'm curious, what would be the types of qualities that you look for then when you add persons to your team?
Well, I love to look for people who are totally different than I am, somebody who can bring a new layer of perspective, who can allow me to think outside of the box, somebody who can allow me to really challenge myself as an individual, a stylist, and also, an innovator. So I would say, in short, somebody who's different than I am.
To complement the skill sets that you have.
Absolutely. Yes.
Nice. Are there any things that you could say that you've learned about becoming an even more effective employer?
Yes. And that would absolutely be being patient, listening, and taking the time to absorb the feedback before acting upon, because, as a hairstylist, when you are self-employed, you're so used to wearing all of the hats and kind of going at your own pace. And, I have I'm very fast and very, I could do the job of 20 people. But ultimately, when you're working with other people, you have to really appreciate that not everybody works on the same level you work or at the same speed. So it's just taking a step back and taking a breath and just truly absorbing the information and then acting accordingly.
Great advice. Great advice. What I've learned too is that people want to be heard. Right?
Yes.
So their opinion and their voice matters. Now, whether you act upon that or not, it's still that they feel valued and that they've been heard. Really
Oh,
important.
absolutely. I mean, that's the end goal with any relationship, is being heard and being appreciated, being seen.
Absolutely. I'm curious about work life, family life integration, right? I stopped using the word balance because I'm not sure that you can ever really be in balance if you're fully present in this moment and then the next. So what insights, how do you manage that work life, family life integration?
Oh, well, oh goodness, I think that's kind of been the theme for my life in this past year. So for the past 4 years, I was leaning into work, 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 work. And I really wasn't feeding that personal facet, that really needed to be fed. And so I feel like it isn't sustained. You can't, it's impossible. You have to make time for yourself. You have to make time for that self-care, that family life, personal life, going out, letting your hair down, having fun, because burnout is real. And if you want a long-lasting, successful business life, you have to have some fun. And for the longest time, I didn't do anything outside of just work, 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 work. And that shows in your business life. People want to work with people who are fun to be around. And if you are so serious and you're so, just in this grind kind of mindset all the time, it's not great for anybody. So that's a very long-winded response for,
A lot of wisdom. There's a lot of wisdom in what you said. There really is. I would add to it. I heard self-care is important. And one of the things that I like to point out to people is self-care is not selfish care.
Mm-hmm.
Self-care is not selfish. In fact, it's probably one of the first priorities so that you can, just as you say, model it for others. They're looking for meaning and purpose in their life too, right?
Absolutely.
Beautiful. Love that. I'm curious about, being an entrepreneur and running a business. What might be some misconceptions about running a business that you've gained some insights about?
Well, so one thing that is both so fascinating to me. And also, I mean, my heart goes out to these individuals because I feel like, well, these platforms are so wonderful for people who may have this passion, but they may be fearful of maybe acting upon it. So one common denominator that I've stumbled across is so many people have these dreams and aspirations, but they think that they have to have all of this preparation before actually starting something. And there isn't this manual out there that has this master key for, stylists who want to patent a product and bring it to market, or somebody who may want to start, an e-commerce business or something. The secret is just doing it and being consistent every single day until those little teeny movements start to take shape. So I think to answer your question in short, again, it would be the misconception that you have to have it all figured out prior to doing something. And that's a fallacy.
Yeah. I like to say you're never ready till you start.
Absolutely.
And oftentimes people have that fear, as you said, just jump in and get her started. Love that. Love that. I'm curious, what would you say to your younger self? And you're still a young leader anyway. If you were to have some advice to your younger self, and this could be at a personal or professional level, what might that be?
Oh, I know this, and I will say this to myself as I speak it out loud, is be gentle with yourself. Don't take life so seriously. I am such a perfectionist, and I will do something over and over and over and over and over until it's absolutely right. And I will say no to so many social events because I think that I have to be just one way with my work. So I would say enjoy being present more and enjoy the ride, because my goodness, I feel like I blinked and 20 years went by. I'm 42. I feel like I just graduated high school. So
well, you're a beautiful 42 and lots of life experience already. Love that.
Thank you.
I'm curious about, we hear people are so busy, and you yourself said that, and we're finding that too. I'm so busy. I'm so busy. What does one do, and what insight might you have around time mastery or maybe self-mastery?
Well, I think that having a routine is very important because it eliminates the overwhelming, just the overwhelming aspect of your day-to-day. So I think that if you can set realistic expectations, set achievable goals that will give you that sense of accomplishment, and take bite-sized pieces. So if you have an end goal versus just jumping into that, okay, what are the 557 steps I have to take before I achieve this goal? Maybe set some goals like, okay, I'm going to create a punch list for myself before my day starts tomorrow. I'm going to get up 30 minutes before I typically do of a day. I'm going to try to connect with 2 people opposed to 57 people, just little teeny goals that give you that confidence, that motivation, that give you that sense of achievement. I think ultimately is something that is so important. And that could be with anything, that could be with, oh my goodness, a New Year's resolution, losing 10 pounds. It could be anything. It's just having more control over your end game by taking smaller steps towards achieving it.
Oh, it's like a plan. I also hear there's energy around learning and growing in the way you speak. And I'm curious, what areas right now are maybe you learning and growing, or still want to do some learning and growing as a business owner or leader?
So, growth is everything. I think the minute you think that you have no more room for growth is when you're just stagnant and obsolete, So For me, I'm constantly learning new things on the daily. So I'm really learning about distribution in its entirety, specifically internationally. So I'm learning about, goodness, palletizing my product and, tariffs and, just things that I would have never, ever dreamt of having to really know anything about 5 years ago. So just being open to suggestion and being open to kind of ultimately flowing through your process.
So I'm curious about looking out 5 years from now, and where do you see yourself, and what insights might you have for other business owners as they think ahead and plan ahead?
I would love to see color canvas systems at the forefront of education. So I've been working on a curriculum that can be easily plugged into any school across the globe. And I would like to see color canvas systems kind of get in front of those routines. So right now I'm currently trying to inspire seasoned stylists to embrace new innovation, new methodologies, new tools. And that's hard to do. Change is really hard for people. So my 5-year goal is to have color canvas systems in every school in the United States. I would love for it to be a global innovation that's just a wild success. But I mean, also to answer the latter kind of part of your question, I think just to have goals. I think when you write these goals down and you're really clear with them and you're clear with your intentions, it constantly kind of keeps you on the move. So definitely to be in schools and to have my education launched, which, by the way, my online education launches this coming Friday, and educational tour will begin the very first week in September. So I'll be traveling to a different state every month just to kind of implement my new methodologies. So yeah, education, and also just being mindful about setting goals.
Beautiful. I hear that you plan your work and then you work your plan. Right?
Exactly.
So your plan is to be out there and then actually work the plan. And we like to say, failing to plan is planning to fail.
Yes.
Yeah. And so we love to encourage people to map that out. And the other thing I heard you say is that, change is a challenge. Isn't it interesting that that's the one constant thing in our lives is change?
Yes.
We're learning and growing, and yet we resist it oftentimes.
Yes.
And instead of embracing it and being that person of influence. And that's the gift that I hear that you can offer others and that you have during our time together is how do you influence the thinking to add some real value
Yes.
to help others feel better about themselves ultimately.
Absolutely.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, wonderful. It has been lovely to chat with you, and I want to thank you for taking the time and investing the time. I know you're busy and you have lots of exciting things to do. And so for today, we will leave it there, and we wish you and your business great success, continued success.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. This absolutely made my morning. So thank you for having me.
You are most welcome. Thank you.